And on the audio, we are live. Succulent Cacti Lady, aka May.
Hi, hola,
Hi.
everybody.
Welcome to the show, May.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored.
The honor's all mine. How are you today?
I'm good. Been running around, but I'm settled now, so we're good.
Yeah, are you a busy person?
Pretty much. I got 3 kids at home full time, because of the Zoom. Well, one of my 15-year-old, he just started summer school, and this is the first time that they went back to in-person school. So it's in-person summer school. He just got home right now, actually, and I was just asking how his day was, and he's like, no, not good. I was like, why? He's like, I hate being outside. I hate being around people. I hate when my dad talks too much. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Oh, to be a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. He's 15 going on 16, and he actually likes the Zoom. He really likes, not interacting with people.
Yeah. I think some people benefit from it.
Yeah, he's he's not a very outgoing. He's very shy and kind of reclusive, so yeah, the Zoom works for him.
Understood. Where are you talking to me from in the world? You're somewhere up in the mountains, right? You're up in the mountains, though, right?
Well, I live by Box Springs Mountains.
Okay.
The city is actually called Marina Valley. Is the whole city, but my neighborhood is called Box Springs because we're right on the foothills of the Box Springs Mountains.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so kind of up here.
You get some extreme weather there?
Yeah, it gets like the heat of the summer. It can be like 115 degrees, 114 degrees. It's crazy.
Wow.
But I don't know. You're getting used to it. It's a dry heat. I prefer it over like humidity, like Florida. I hate Florida. Sorry, my Floridian friends.
How hot is it in there right now?
Well, today's only like the high is like 78, but I'm inside the greenhouse, so it's warm.
Yeah.
But you see that fan? It kicks on automatically once it hits 90 degrees. So I guess it's not 90 yet.
Oh, nice. Fancy. You just built this thing, right?
Yeah, it's been a couple months since I had it up, but I've been wanting to do it for a while, and it's been in the works for a while, and finding somebody to actually build it for me, so yeah, but this is new.
Awesome.
And I technically don't need a greenhouse because it's hot where I live, but I wanted one, so here we are.
Okay, well, let's rewind a little bit and then we'll go there. So are you from Moreno Valley originally?
No. Well, originally, how far back do you want to go?
Let's go all the way back. Where did it start?
Oh, I told you my a 5-year-old would run in.
Hi, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Bodhi.
Bodhi? I love that name. That's such a cute name.
Yes, and I have it tattooed on my arm.
A Bodhi tree? Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's a Bodhi tree.
Awesome.
Yeah, so from the beginning, okay, well, both my parents are originally from Laos.
Okay.
It's a small Southeast Asian country nestled in between Vietnam and Thailand. We're landlocked. You want to go all the way back, say like 1845, when we got colonized by the French. Because that story ends up to where we are now, so the French colonized a lot of the Southeast Asian countries, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia. At that time, they called it Indochina. So almost, I'd say 1843 to say 1954, the French, they lost control. So the Laotian government, with any major country, when you're being ruled by somebody else, being colonized, like, Haiti was colonized by the French. So when the colonizers leave, the people remaining are kind of scrambling for power. So that's what happened to Laos. So we have the original royalists, the Lao royalists, which is basically a monarch. And then we have the communists trying to take over. So there was kind of a civil war between the monarchists and the communists. And a lot of people in America, when you think of the Vietnam War, you only think about the country Vietnam. Well, it encompassed a lot of the Southeast Asian countries. And my country personally was affected more than most, more than Vietnam, I would say. I don't want any Vietnamese to get offended, but if you look at the history of Laos, we are the most heavily bombed country in the world per capita.
Wow.
I mean, we were bombed in that small period from like, I want to say 54 to like early 70s, or I don't know, late 60s. I don't remember the exact date, but during that short time period, we were bombed more than all of World War II put together in all the
Wow.
countries that was involved in World War II. And that's a lot of bombing for a very small country.
Yeah.
And the reason why they bombed us was because the Vietnamese, the Viet Cong, was using, they were basically crossing Vietnam into Laos,
Mhm.
going into from the north to the south. So they were trying to doing it as a secret passage.
Yeah.
You know, instead of crossing through Vietnam directly, where the war was heavily, where there's a lot of U.S. soldiers, they kind of crossed. So the U.S. Army, the CIA found out about that, so that's why we got bombed, because they were trying to cut off that supply line.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you know, so the war's over. Civil war breaks out. The communist takes over. The civil war's over. The communist takes over because we all know the communists won that war. So you know, there was widespread famine. People that were in the other side that fought for the American side were put in not concentration camps. That's not the word. Reprogramming camps,
Okay.
I guess is the word, where you know they try to brainwash you into becoming a communist.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of people in my family, a lot of the men in my family, were in the Loyalist Army. They fought for and helped on the American side. So of course, when the Americans lost, we had to leave too. So you know, there became this great migration of Laotian people going into Thailand, because Thailand was a free nation. And that entailed crossing the Mekong River, which is a very fast-flowing, fast-moving river. You know, you can have easily drowned. And then, of course, there was the communist soldiers on top of bridges shooting at you while you're trying to cross. You know, so imagine a lot of the like the Mexicans or the Guatemalans or Hondurans trying to cross over here, but the border patrols are standing on top of the fence trying to shoot at you. You know.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is. So you know, once you cross into Thailand, then you can apply for political asylum, which is what my family did. And we got granted political asylum because a lot of the men in my family did fight for and sided with the Americans. And booty go, nobody wants to see your booty. Mommy's talking. So anyway, so you know, when you're in Thailand, and so we're now in a refugee camp with, I don't know, it was maybe estimated about 400,000 people crossed over. This is from Vietnam, from Cambodia, from Laos into Thailand, all crammed into this small refugee camp that the Thai government wasn't ready for. You know, they weren't ready and weren't set up for this influx of migration. So, you know, we didn't stay there very long, luckily, because the way that asylum seekers are, they're pretty much put into levels. Like if you work closely with an American or a soldier or anybody in the government, you're kind of put in tier 1, where you get granted asylum really quick and you get assigned really quick, and you get, you know, get to come to the United States, to Germany, to France, where there's a lot of countries that accepted us. Canada, I actually have some family and some friends in Canada. And so that was like tier 1. Then tier 2 was like the educated people, like people that were educated, had government jobs, were teachers, lawyers, that nature, you
nurses, doctors and stuff.
Yeah, like that. And then the third level, of course, are the farmers. And some of them ended up staying in the refugee camps for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you know. So luckily we got out really fast, because like I said, a lot of my family members did work closely with the Americans. So I want to say I crossed over the river. My dad carried me, my mom carried my younger brother. Yeah, so I was carried across the Mekong River into Thailand when I was, I want to say 1.5. I was very young. Now I have no memory of this. I have no memory whatsoever of being in Laos. I have no memory of crossing. I have no memory of being in a refugee camp. And then we got sent to Hawaii, because I had an uncle that was already there. So if you do get granted political asylum from whichever country you're going to, you need to have a sponsor. So luckily our sponsor was in Hawaii. So from Thailand, I went to Hawaii, and that's where I actually grew up originally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I lived there, it was, happy. It was fun. So I had no memory of, any of that other stuff.
Sure.
And then I came to California when I was about 10, maybe, because my dad just, we have family here too. We have family in San Diego, like we have family in Southern California that actually came from the refugee camps to California. So a lot of them were sent to California.
Mm.
So, my dad decided that California would have better opportunities, more jobs, whatnot. So here I am.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's an incredibly inspiring story. And it's so beautiful that the background and you were able to set that up. You did a wonderful job telling it. And I think that's a very not well known fact about the Vietnam War, because I feel it sounds familiar, but it sounds new to me a little bit. So that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the movies that are based on the Vietnam War are about Vietnam and about the battle in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And like in Asia, we don't call it the Vietnam War. We call it the American War.
Yeah.
Like if you say the Vietnam War, they're like, what's that? What are you talking about? You mean when we fought the French? Like, no, So anyways, yeah. But, I feel like history repeats itself. Like a lot of the Southeast Asians came in the 70s after the war. And then in the mid 80s, we had a lot of migration from, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. Same thing, Civil War,
Yeah.
and just a lot of those early migration in the 80s was for political asylum, for political reasons. And then now we have that's still going on. We still have a lot of people coming to the border, a lot of migration, a lot of asylum seekers, but for economic asylum, not political.
Yeah.
But it's still the same thing. It's like, I think people lose sight of that.
Yeah. Well, your ancestors had to endure a lot just to get you to where so much had to happen to have for this conversation to even occur. And I think
exactly.
it's so beautiful.
Like the universe works in crazy ways, and I'm very grateful and I'm very blessed. And, I can't imagine my life, not being here.
Yeah. That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
So when did the plants come into the story?
Well, okay, I've always liked plants. My parents are gardeners. People from Southeast Asia garden. We always grew our own. No, don't bring this in here, Bodhi. Coming from in the 80s, like there wasn't a market where you can go to and buy Asian food or Asian vegetables. The Thai hot chili peppers, you couldn't find that in the Stater Brothers. So a lot of us meaning my community, fellow refugees, because we all lived in the same area, lived in the same community. We all kind of came from wherever village we were from and kind of flocked together and stayed together here in the United States. That's one of the reasons why we went to California too, because my parents knew a lot of people from their village that already lived here. But anyways, so my parents always grew our own vegetables, and of course living in Hawaii, a lot of the jobs that we did get being new immigrants to the country with not knowing the language, not having education, even though you have an education in your country, you're not educated here. The only job you could get was on a farm. So, my dad did do that. He picked green beans, he picked sugar cane. My parents worked on the fields in Hawaii. And of course, there's no babysitting, so they would take us with us. So yeah, I've been on the field with my parents, watching them pick, gai lam, which is a Chinese broccoli and whatnot. So, my dad worked hard when he first got here. He was a farmer. During the day, at night, he worked at a restaurant. He was a dishwasher. So yeah, you kind of, when you get here, it's not just a free ride. You still have to support yourself and find your way. And eventually, my dad did. So he worked really hard. And in the middle of raising a family, working a day job, working a night job, he still went to school, still learned English. Still got an education. And actually, my dad got into landscaping, into architectural landscaping. And he got his first real job at an amusement park that's kind of similar to Castle Park, I guess, just being cutting grass and whatnot. So, and he would take us with him, and, he's out there cutting grass and we're kind of hanging out on the rides and stuff like that. So anyway, plants have always been a part of my culture.
Yeah.
Of growing up. That was, if you didn't grow it, you didn't really eat, because we were poor.
Yeah.
you know, so it was more of a necessity to grow stuff.
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
and at what
Yeah.
point did it start to transition into a hobby?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm blessed in the fact that, you know, I don't have to grow my own food. If I don't
Sure.
grow it, I don't eat, you know, like if I don't grow
Yeah.
my food, I'm not going to starve. Um, so it's basically, I think it started more for me. Okay, well, another backstory. So when I first came to California,
Uh-huh.
our first family trip was to the San Diego Zoo, and I was like maybe 10 at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Hawaii, so I'm just used to the palm trees and plumerias and the bird of paradise and, you know, all that
Sure.
stuff. So when I come to California, we go to the San Diego Zoo, and you know that turtle reptile exhibit
Uh-huh.
that, and it was just full of like drought tolerant plants, the big aloes, and so
Yeah.
I fell in love with the big aloe because to me they were the Dr. Seuss trees, and that's what I thought they were, and that's what they looked like to me. So in my
Yeah.
head, as a 10-year-old, I'm like, you know, when I get older, I'm gonna get a Dr. Seuss tree. I want a Dr. Seuss tree. You know,
Cool.
so that image of that drought tolerant landscaping at the San Diego Zoo has stuck in my head since I was 10 years old. So fast forward, you know, this is actually my second house. My first house, you know, I didn't really do anything to it. It just had grass and whatnot. And in this house, when I moved here, I bought this house about 16 years ago. I removed all the grass and just started slowly doing the aloe. So I really started with the aloes, the big aloes,
Yeah.
agaves. So aloes and agaves were kind of my first love. And then I still had the, of course, the euphorbia and the plumerias and all that. And then it just slowly
Plumeria.
transitioned into the cacti and all this. So,
Yeah.
but really what started me, if you come to my house, I have huge aloes. I mean, anybody that's been to my house, I have like, you know, my dream came true. I'm living the life. My 10-year-old girl dream came true. I own my own home with big aloe trees.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so maybe I should have wished for something more, but you know.
That's cool. So when you're not gardening, what else are you into?
Let me see. As far as hobby wise, I like just sitting in bed and watching old reruns of Law and Order SVU. You know, and I'm
I
all
don't
about
think
the
you're
Hugh
alone in that
Sailor
one.
Vincent romance. So
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
think
like you
you're
know,
alone
when
in
I'm
that.
not, because I have 3 children, 2 of
Yeah.
which are special needs. My 14-year-old is autistic. He's special needs, and you know, he was born premature, 5 months. He was drug exposed. I mean, he's diagnosed with like 13 different things, like real
Wow.
diagnosis that's in his medical chart, you know. So my kids keep me busy as far as their therapies and their appointments and all that stuff. So really it's a full-time job being a special needs mom. You know, like tomorrow he has a doctor's appointment at 8:15. Friday, my daughter has her appointment. So yeah, it's busy with you know, juggling all the kids' needs and
Yeah.
then taking care of cacti. It's a lot of work, you know, taking care of the house, running a household on my own,
Yeah.
raising the kids, basically on my own. You know, I'm divorced. My ex-husband does pay child support and spousal support, which he should, but that's about it. You know, don't get me started on talking, you know, talking shit. But
Been there.
yeah, you know, but no, don't kick it. So yeah, I really don't have time for any other extracurricular activity. I
I would
really don't.
imagine. Yeah.
You know, okay, Mikey loves magic. We were talking about my hair. I haven't had a haircut since last March. Okay, this thing goes down to my butt. Just because, you know, it's like when I do have free time, it's like, okay, am I going to spend the day going nursery shopping and finding new cactus, or am I going to go get my hair done? You know, so my hair is like the last of my worries.
That's so amazing that you're able to juggle all that and yet still maintain a beautiful collection. That sounds like a lot, you know?
Yeah, well, this
Yeah.
is like my stress relief, you know, so it is stressful.
Yeah.
You know, being a mom alone is stressful.
Yeah.
Being a special needs mom is stressful. Being a autistic mom is stressful. Being an adoptive mom is, you know, on top of that, extra stressful because you have CPS on top of you. You have, you know, children's services. You have social workers visiting you every month. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, scrambling to clean your house before the social worker gets here. You know,
Maintaining a home on its own is a lot of work, let alone with children.
Yeah, it is. So, you know, but you know, I feel very lucky. I feel very blessed. I'm grateful that I have everything I have. I
Yes.
feel like I was put here to do this, you know,
I
like the
see
life
that.
that I'm living now is what I feel like I should be doing. Like this is my authentic life, you know, like I don't wish to have anybody else's life,
I see
if that
that.
makes sense, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, and coming from a background like what your family endured, I could imagine that it feels really good to have the things that you have.
Yeah, it does, you know, and you know, it's different because my kids, you know, they were born here and they're, you know, they were born in this house. You know,
Yeah.
my two youngest kids were born into this house. This is the only home they've ever known. And, you know, for the most part, it's a nice home. You know, I don't live in a mansion. I don't live in this ultra bougie neighborhood, but, you know, I live in a nice neighborhood in my town. I own a nice home. It's 2 stories. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths. My teenagers have their own bathrooms. You
You
know,
did it.
I
You did
share
it,
with my
man.
5-year-old, you know, I share a bathroom with my 5-year-old, which sharing a bathroom with a 5-year-old boy is gross, but, you know, have it all. You know? But, you know, I feel like my kids, like, I don't know, like I want to teach them to be humble and to have this background. And I talk to them about where we came from and our history. And
Yes.
my uncle, actually, he's actually our family patriarch, and he was a pilot. And, you know, for during the war, he was a pilot, and he actually we did a family reunion like a couple years ago, and he kind of told us our history, like broke it down.
Yeah.
And, you know, we invited, it was like 3-4 generations with the kids, and,
Cool.
you know, just listening to our family history, you know, where we come from and
Yeah.
how we got here and I think he had this meeting during the time when there was a lot of tension and a lot of, you know, when Trump was in president, there's a lot of
Yeah.
tension about being illegal immigrants and entering the country illegally. And, you know, I think my elders, they really wanted to let us know that that's not our situation, you know. I'm not
Yeah.
saying anybody else's situation is better or worse or whatever.
Right.
Everybody has their own
Yeah.
reason and, you know, for coming here.
Yes.
But he was, you know, they're basically telling us all our paperwork was done in Thailand at the refugee camp. Everything was approved. We flew here on a plane. The second we got off the plane, you know, we were given green cards, permanent resident green card. And honestly, my green card from when I was a baby, and I remember that's the one thing that I do remember is taking my green card picture. You know, because I've never, I don't know, I just remember being away from my parents and this white background, and they were taking my picture, and I have this image. And I actually still have my green card from when I was a baby. Well, I wasn't a baby, I was like maybe 3, because I got here when I was about 3.5. And there's no expiration date on it. It says permanent resident, there's no expiration date. Yeah, so, you know, but of course, everybody in our family applied for citizenship and whatnot. But I think we need to push for that. You know, like in the 80s, you know, when Reagan was the president at the time, even though he was a Republican, he still approved this mass pathway to citizenship for a lot of people that came from, you know, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, all those countries to apply for citizenship, even though they came in illegally. There's just this big wave in the late 80s, I believe. I don't remember the exact time frame. I know this because my ex-husband, he's Mexican, he's from Guadalajara. You know, and his family, they did come legally on a visa. Sit down. You know, but they came on just a visitation visa. And they left Mexico because the peso just dropped, and, you know, his dad was a bus driver and the mom had a store, and they were just they're better off and more well off than most people. But because of the peso dropping, and they were just really scared of the future of the Mexican economy, you know, so they decided to come. They came, they overstayed their visa expired. So now they're illegal. And when that opportunity opened up for them to apply for citizenship, even though they were illegal, you know, I mean, what a difference. I mean, my ex-husband came to the United States when he was 10 years old, didn't speak a word of English. He has a bachelor's degree in political science from UCR. He has a master's degree in education.
Yeah.
You know, he teaches world history at a high school. He's been a teacher for over 20 years. I mean, like, what other country do you have that opportunity? You know, that can only be done with a pathway to citizenship. And it needs to be more than just DACA, because DACA is very temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're supposed to be talking about plans, but I just feel like
no, it's okay.
what's going on right now in the news with immigration is just varied because I came as an immigrant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know how wonderful my life is. And I just can't imagine
Thank
living
you.
in Guatemala and not being able to feed your kids. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Thank
know.
you so much for bringing this topic to the show. I think it's important because a lot of people have misconceptions, and there's statements like they're taking our jobs and bullshit like that. That it's terrible. And my mother's an immigrant, and I wouldn't be here if she wasn't able to migrate here from the Philippines when she was young. And yeah, I think it's important to bring awareness and for us to be proud of our heritage, and to tell these stories, and for our children to hear these stories so that it doesn't get forgotten, because it's not getting this kind of shit isn't getting written in the history books, these real stories. So thank you, May, for having the courage to talk about that here. I have 31 questions from your friends. Can we
And I was like,
start?
it's probably like my one friend that's,
No, these are like multiple people.
I'm like, what do they want to know? I'm like, and also, okay, I'm wearing my Big Cactus Rescue tank top.
Shout out to Big
Love
Cactus
it, love
Rescue.
it. Account. I got latex pin that I just got today from Euphorbia.
That's right.
Got me California because I love California. And I got this as a free gift from Jesse of Euphorbia today. So yeah, I'm gonna have fun.
Awesome.
Anyway, okay, back to the
I'm
question.
trying to get Big Cactus Rescue to come on. I talked to him the other day, and he said that he needed some time to think about it because he was nervous, I think. He was like, "Oh, I knew this day would come."
Yeah,
Let's
he's
see.
a really cool guy.
Funky Aeonium said, "How important is it to have all these plants in your life?"
It's very important, not for material reasons or financial reasons, but for the actual stress relief.
Yes.
Because I don't drink. I don't drink any type of alcohol, not even wine, no nothing. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. I'm not knocking anybody that does.
Yeah.
I'm all for the weed reform. But like I don't do any of that.
This
Just
is your
my own
vice.
personal choice. Yeah, my own personal choice. I just choose to try to live a clean up life as possible for me. I don't smoke cigarettes. So really, gardening, collecting, taking care of them, repotting,
Yeah.
even spraying for mealybugs is like, once after we're done with dinner and I'm done cleaning up, I'll be out here till like maybe 8 o'clock at night. Just, just looking, there's always something to do. So for me, I think if I didn't have cactus, I really would go off the deep end.
Yeah. So it's
So
therapeutic.
yeah, it's for my mental health,
Yes.
And I want to be open. Like I do have a lot of mental issues just because of my growing up and background and different things. And I've been to regular therapy. And to be honest with you, I'm not knocking people that go see a therapist and all that, but I honestly don't believe that it helped me all that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, and I don't want to take medication or anything like that. I don't feel that I'm at the point where I need medication. So really, this is my medicine.
Yeah. Well, I think that there are holistic approaches that actually offer a lot more solution than talking about issues. I mean, for example, I have PTSD, and I had just had a session yesterday, and all it did really, when I was telling my lady this, and I've been feeling triggered, I had to go run today. It just opened up a bunch of wounds, and it didn't close them up. So sometimes it can be counterproductive. So I believe that the form of therapy that we use now is kind of archaic and outdated. And things like this, gardening therapy, are actually probably a lot better. But that's actually one of the questions that was asked was, have you ever seen a therapist?
Okay. Yes, actually, if you live in this area, you know where Loma Linda is. So I've been to Loma Linda Behavioral Health, and this was just a couple of years ago. This was 5 years ago. I was going through my divorce. My husband, was the breadwinner. He made the bulk of the money. I only work part-time because my daughter is autistic, and being an autistic mom takes up a lot of your time. I just cannot imagine working a full-time job and being able to do everything that you have to do with your child. I mean, when they're young, it's like, 3 weeks of, this started when she was 2.5, 3 weeks, 3 days a week, a therapist would come to your house and you'd have in-home therapy. 2 days a week, we go to a mom and me program. And then there's all the doctor visits, all the behavioral, it's just a lot. And then of course, I'm very involved with my child's school, you know. I go to every single field trip. I go to, you know, sometimes they'll call me, she had an accident, she had a bad day, but I would just, you know, run down the street, pick her up, bring her home, whatever. You can't do that working at wherever. Can't be like, oh, you know what, my daughter had an accident, I need to go. And this is like once a week, you know, you would get fired. So, you know, so that transition of going through a divorce, figuring out, okay, how am I gonna keep the ship running?
Yeah.
You know, financially and all this. And then also I started fostering, and then from fostering, I started the process of adopting. So it's just a lot, and it's just very stressful. And I just kind of felt like, you know, I don't know if I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
So I was kind of doubting, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have filed for divorce. Maybe I should have just stuck it out, you know, and stayed with this man that I'm miserable with, that makes my skin crawl. But anyways, you know, a whole nother topic. But you know, so I did go see a therapist, and I did a couple sessions, and well, I want to say that Loma Linda, I really like Loma Linda. They have a program where basically the bill is based on what you make and what you can pay.
Yeah.
So I think I only paid like $25 a session, which is cheap for therapy.
Yeah.
You know, and I did go a couple times. I gave it and it's really, I'm thinking this whole time, like, you know what, I can do this with my friends.
Right.
You know, so I did, through therapy, did discover, because she asked about if I had any recurring dreams or recurring nightmares. And I always had for years of either I'm in a flood or my car's being flooded. It was just always some kind of water situation, you know, like being in a tsunami and the water's just rising and engulfing my house, or, you know, something like to that nature. And it was just recurring. And I just had that for years. And then when she asked me, well, have you like had any accidents involving water or whatever? And then I kind of really had to think about it. And I forgot totally about being carried across the river, you know, during wartime in the middle of the night with guns blazing. I totally forgot about it. I mean, that must have been scary as hell. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. And then once I realized that's where it came from, the nightmares stopped. I haven't had a dream about water or drowning or, you know, being engulfed in a tsunami or a flood or anything like that. And once I realized that that's where it was coming from, and it wasn't like a negative thing, it was a good thing because I survived it.
That's the perfect example of our capability of healing ourselves. Yes, a therapist may have been the catalyst to you figuring that out, but at the end of the day, I think that we are our best healer. You know, we are our best teacher, and it seems like you figured that out amongst yourself. That's beautiful. Funky Aeonium also asked, and if you had to narrow down to only 5 plants to keep, which 5 would they be?
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, that's hard. I don't know. My copiopose, I like my copiopose. I like my conophytums, which are new to me. I'm slowly getting into them, and they're pain in the butt, but I really actually like them. I just started getting into lithops. They're really cute too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. It's like choosing.
What about your aloes?
Okay, you know, my aloes, I'm kind of over them. The aloes and the agaves, I've moved on. But yeah, they can go. But it's like choosing between your kids. You know, I have 3 kids. Like, which kid would you say first? I don't know. You know,
I hear you.
I can't answer that right now.
I hear you. We're gonna probably run into a similar question like that. J4011 said, top 5 cactus to recommend to a newbie.
Oh, to a newbie. Okay.
Newbie?
Definitely not a mellow cactus because they're drama queens. But I think something that's easy that really won't die is just start off at Lowe's. Like I know people are snobby and people look down at going to Lowe's, but I have a lot of Lowe's cactus that still survive, you know, or that are, so basically anything that they sell at Lowe's is a good starter, and it's a good the price range. You know, you can get a really nice plant for $5.
Yeah. Cool. Selegnosol. Shout out to Selegnosol.
Yes.
How has building a greenhouse changed your plant collecting lifestyle?
It's made me more selective, made me more being less of a hoarder, believe it or not, because now I'm more selective because I'm like, okay, if it doesn't fit, you know, if I get a new one, then I have to get rid of an old one. So I have to just decide on which old one I want to get rid of. And I
Yeah,
actually have a bunch of stuff out there that I'm thinking of doing another giveaway because I just have a lot of extras.
I see. Nice.
Because I like shopping, and the act of buying cactus is actually a high for me too.
Yeah.
That's like another adrenaline rush. Even though I know for well I don't need it and I don't have room for it and I really don't know where to put it. But I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what? I don't care. Like Sunday's my free day because my kids go with their dad. So Sunday is most of the days, if you guys follow my stories, I'm nursery hopping, I'm visiting somebody's collection, and I'm spending a shitload of money on cactus because I don't spend money on anything else basically. So yeah, it's made me more selective and being less of a hoarder.
That's awesome. Let's see. How many potted plants does your greenhouse hold? My lady, Amziam, asked this.
Oh gosh, you know what? I have no idea. I've never counted, and I don't even know how much I have in my collection. I've never counted.
Yeah.
But I have stuff in my greenhouse. I have stuff growing outside potted. I have stuff growing in ground. I mean, I've been in my house 16 years, and it's been a 16-year process to change from when I first bought my house. I was really into tropical, so I had the plumerias, I had the hibiscus, I had the bird of paradise, and digging all that out. Well, I bought the house from an elderly couple, and they had like a million fruit trees out here. Like they were trying to start a farm or something. I don't know, but so I had to dig out all the fruit trees, replant all the plants that I wanted, and then, you know, it's a big yard. Like my front yard is 2 levels on this side, and the other side is another level, and getting rid of all the grass. So, and then just transitioning. And I got rid of my grass only because my water bill was so high. My water bill was like $200 a month. And I swear to God, like the first month that I switched from my grass to my drought tolerant stuff, my water bill was $35.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm an advocate for, you know, not watering, not having water guzzlers in your yard.
Yeah.
And my plants, I don't water them. I don't have a drip system. I don't have an irrigation system. I water everything by hand.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a lot of work, but I don't do it too often. So if you can't survive on the neglect and the drought that I give you, then you don't belong.
Yeah, I seen you throw away a plant the other day, but it was for
Oh, yeah,
treating
I
it
do
for
a lot of stuff.
scale or something.
You get thrown out. If you have million plants, you get thrown out. If you're infested, you get thrown out.
3 strikes and you're out, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Lisa Zavala said, how did you get into growing cactus? Did we talk about that already a little bit?
Yeah, so basically the same, you know, just from me originally liking the aloes that I thought looked like Dr. Seuss trees, and that was kind of like my trigger.
Yeah.
And just, you know, I'm the type of person that set goals. So that was my goal as a kid, was to own a house that had a Dr. Seuss tree.
So manifested it. You manifested it.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly. Trans Infinite. What are the 3 top plant collections you've ever seen? I'm assuming that referring to private collections.
Private collections. Okay. I really love Prickly Punk's his setup. He has a small yard, but the way he has everything set up is like super efficient. If you've never visited his backyard, it's like, oh my God, you know, it's inspiring. And I haven't seen a lot of people's collection, you know, because obviously we've been in COVID, we've been in lockdown, nobody wants you to come over.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want to be intruding on people. My friend Mike from Harupa, he's the nursery tenant at Granite Hills Nursery. He has a small collection, but the stuff that he has, it's very old and it's very hard grown, and it's just, you know, it's amazing. And a third person, wow, who have I seen lately? Oh, you know what? Dean from Genosis Nursery, he has a private collection at his nursery that's amazing.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
I would say the 3 so far.
Emiliano Q Fernandez said, "What?" Oh,
Emiliano.
What advice could you give to someone trying to start a plant collection?
Just start out small.
Yeah.
And I actually got when
realistic.
He got his first apartment, I got him a couple aloes, a couple plants for his little patio or whatnot, and then I think the only thing that survived was an aloe. Yeah, so I was trying to get him into it too, but you know, he's not ready yet.
It'll come naturally, I think.
Yeah.
It's in the blood. So you already answered this question, but I just want to recognize who it was. Blasian Cutie had asked, have you ever seen a therapist? The Oasis Gardens. What plants are on the top of your wish list right now?
Okay, Victor from Oasis Garden. I want your hairy wool torch Papa Smurf cactus that you have in your greenhouse right now.
Old man? It's some kind of old man or what?
It's Peliosaurus. I don't know, not a palmary, but something in that family. It's like a blue torch cactus, but his is super, super hairy. You just have to go. It's I don't know if you follow Oasis Gardens, but you have to go into his account and it's like, yeah, it's you touch it and it feels like wool. It's like sheep wool. I'm like, I want to make a rug out of this and just lay on it.
Yeah, those are cool. Right. My dog's barking. Rumi.jal said, what made you come to these prickly plants? I'm sorry if we have repeat questions. I'm just going to read them. I think we got that. Baker sucks. Will there be a Baker May 2?
You know, definitely.
What is it?
You know what? Yes, it's definitely up to Baker says because he's the one that's being all elusive and, you know, taking his daddy duty seriously.
Yeah, he just had a baby, huh?
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. We're definitely going to do another Baker May reunion.
Baker Sucks also said, are you and at Baker Sucks bro and sis? Question mark with a laughing face.
I'm like, what? Say that again.
Are you guys bro and sis? You and Baker Sucks, bro and sis.
Not in real life, no, but yeah, but we're pretty tight. He's actually one of my first in IG to in real life friends. And how we actually started becoming friends. He posted something and I was like, hey, you know, are you selling this or can I have it or what or something like that? And he was like, well, we can do a trade. So, you know, he came over to my house and we did a trade and, you know, the rest is history.
Awesome. Catnip said, what was your first cactus?
Oh gosh. I think it was just a Nepalus, just a basic Nepalus that one of my neighbors, there's actually a lot of people in the neighborhood that has drought tolerant landscaping, but one of my neighbors down the street, he actually goes to Arizona 2 times a year and buys plants and brings it over here and he sells it. But as a yard sale, he doesn't do IG or anything like that. And he gave me a Nepalus pad and it's in the corner over there and it's huge and the trunk is like becoming tree-like.
Yeah.
You know, because it's probably about 13, 14 years old and it started from this one pad. So that's my first cactus was just a simple basic Nepalus.
That's crazy how they do like become little trees. Dao Lao said, what is the oldest succulent plant you have in your collection?
Oh, okay. My Euphorbia miles, which as Southeast Asians, you know, they're obsessed with that, and plumerias. I got a cutting from my uncle, I want to say maybe 15 years ago when I first moved into the house. And so it's, you know, a bush now. And yeah, so my Euphorbia miles, I have like a couple in different colors.
Awesome.
That were all gifted from my family members.
And I think we got to this already, but Fillmore Martin 425 said, what is your favorite cactus? And you were struggling to pick one.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I need more time.
Okay. Exotic plant lover.
To think of that. I might make a post later if I decide on a favorite.
Exotic plant lover.
That's my she's a fellow Laotian girl, beautiful, beautiful, sexy, sexy girl. She was in a Thailand refugee camp and she got sent to Canada and she's been in Canada ever since. And her backstory is amazing as well. And I just want to say, love you. So we call each other Pinong, which means cousin, even though we're not blood related, but because we're from the same country and so we call each other cousins. But anyways, okay, go on. What's your question?
Oh, how much sunlight does a cactus need?
It all depends because they're all different. Some like shade, some like partial shade, some like full sun, some like partial sun. I mean, they're all different, right? We know that. Yeah.
You guys, I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 with. We're gonna have to do a part 2 here. Bunnycraft 974. What's your favorite memory?
My favorite memory, honestly, is when I was living in Hawaii, and we would go like big caravans of families, 5, 6 families. Each family had like 3 to 5 kids, and we would go camping on the weekends and just, you know, at the beach, just You know, imagine the Hawaiian beach, just camping, barbecuing, family, friends.
Yeah.
You know, we did that every weekend. And it was very, you know, it was fun. I mean, we didn't have money to go to like Disneyland and do all this other stuff. You know, we're all poor, new to America, families, you know, all the parents are working farm jobs, dishwashing, restaurant jobs, you know, so that was our only entertainment really, was each other's company.
Yeah, that's a beautiful memory. Some people will never know that. Let's see. Haley's Hot House. What's your dream planty place to travel to someday?
Oh gosh, Madagascar. I love plants from Madagascar.
Hell yeah.
I just would love to go to Madagascar, Sri Lanka, you know, any one of those type of places where they just have crazy, the environment is just so perfect to have all these crazy, crazy specimens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess Madagascar would be my number one place right now.
Awesome. Haley's Hot House. What's your wish list plant? Did we say that?
Yeah, the wish list. Papa Smurf from Oasis Gardens.
Yes. Haley's Hot House. Do you have a cactus you killed that really broke your heart? I've lost a few and cried. She's laughing.
You know what? I've been upset over losing $5 plants from Lowe's. So yes. So every time I lose a plant, it's kind of heartbreaking, you know, because you're taking care of them, and you know, you imagine this future with them when they're all big and beautiful and glorious, and they die young. So yeah, it's heartbreaking, every single one of them.
Yeah, I feel you. I am Poe. Have you ever thought about making your own YouTube channel about tips and tricks on gardening? Ooh, I think you did get that.
No, I don't even do TikTok, and this is the first time I'm doing anything like this. As you guys all know, if you followed me for a while, I never do selfies. I never show pictures of myself really. I only did that one time, only because I wanted to speak out against the current Asian hate that's going on.
Yes.
You know, we all know what it's about and how it came forth, but I won't get into detail with that. But honestly, I think I've had my account maybe, I don't know, 2 years or so. I never showed a picture of myself. Yeah. And that was the only reason why I showed a picture of myself, just to show people that I'm Asian, you know, even though I do have a Laotian flag on my bio, but most people don't look at the bio. But yeah, you know, so I'm not like that type of person to be all, oh, hey, you know.
Well, I appreciate you being willing to do this.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, so
you've done an excellent job too. This is a great episode.
Thank you.
All right, for the vibe. Uh-oh, I just heard a sound change. I think we're good. Okay, for the vibes. From all your plants you own, which one is your favorite one, and what made you get into cacti? Sorry for the vibes. We already went there. Reina Royal. What is the most rare cacti you own, and how much was it?
I don't know if it's rare, but of course the Copia Pocinerias. I have 3, and they're in the $200 range. Let me see.
Yeah, we only have one more question, so after that, let's spend the last 10 minutes or so looking at some plants.
Okay, so that thing cost me $300. Cost a small fortune, but you know what? I liked it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and then of course, the Leforas, you know, I have a couple of these. This one cost me $200. I ordered it from Canada, and I was freaking out. You know, imagine I was going to get caught up by customs, and the feds was going to raid my house. You know. Yeah. So, I'm kind of a negative thinker, and my mind goes off the deep end. But I was like, because I was like over 2 weeks. I'm like, she might take over 2 weeks. I'm like, is this thing confiscated? Are they like, you know, putting wiretaps in my house and trying to set up a raid? You know, like, yeah. But I finally got it, and honestly, it was just took 2 weeks just because there was a lot going on at that time. It was during COVID and whatnot. But but it's healthy. Yeah. And then so I have a couple of Leforas that I really, really, really love. If I can grow a whole mountain of loafs on my hill, I would.
Hell yeah.
You know, like how they are in habitat. Yeah. So that would be my dream.
Yeah. I hope they decriminalize nature soon. We shouldn't have to worry. Exactly. It's just the plant. And
you know, and the U.S. is the only country that is it's illegal in.
I know.
It's crazy because I mean, like people in England, people wherever, they're just like, like in
Yeah.
Thailand, they just grow them.
Well, I think harvesting them should remain illegal, except for the
Well, yeah,
cultures. But
yes.
owning them, I mean, and possessing them, it's ridiculous.
No, and then just, growing from seed. Like I have these
Yeah.
have already probably given me 3 seed pods. And
Wow.
growing your own seed should not be illegal.
No.
To have for your own personal collection. That should not, like, you should not be worried that the, DA is gonna knock down your door,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a rebel, so I got a couple of those.
Hell yeah. So out of those plants there, do you have them arranged in any particular order, or like are the most important ones in towards the bottom?
Well, this is like I put like the ones that are kind of more expensive and the ones that I like right here in front, because when I open the door and I walk in,
Yeah.
like that's the first thing I see. So I put my favorites, like this shelf right here is probably my favorites. Just because it's like, when you walk in, that's the first thing where your eye goes.
Yeah.
Is forward. So yeah, but I have them pretty much organized like by size and their sun needs, basically, because this side gets a lot of shade because it's right next to the house, so it gets the morning shade from the house.
Okay.
So this side gets more sun, so this is the more hardy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's basically how I do it.
Cool. Can we see some more plants?
Well, let's see. Like I said, I'm getting into light thoughts, so I have a lot of color.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So and you know what? They're so tiny, but they cost like this one. You really can't tell because they're so small, but they're like the hot lips one, and they're supposed to be shaped like red lips once they grow in. So yeah, that, and then I have basic stuff too,
Yeah.
Luchenbergers.
Very cool.
And actually, I have 4 of these already. And guess what I got in the mail today that I haven't opened yet?
Another one.
So this is my 4th one. So
I'm not familiar with those.
Yeah, they're kind of like a cross between a cactus and an agave. And then, of course, the Aria carpet that everybody wants.
Gorgeous.
And then, actually, my friend from Canada.
I think it's one of these.
My friend from Canada, exotic plant lover that I was talking about, she mailed me 2 cuttings from Canada of plumeria cuttings that I'm trying to root. So that's another thing I want to say too. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been following, and I love the relationships that we form, even though a lot of us we've never met in person. And just for a complete stranger, like my friend in Canada, I've never met her. She mailed me 2 plumeria cuttings all the way from Canada, which probably costs a small fortune to ship.
Yeah, like $50.
Without asking me to pay for shipping, it was just a surprise. So I do get gifted a lot, which I'm very grateful for. Various different things. It could be something small, it could be something big, but I do get a lot of gifts in the mail. Like this is from Euphorbia. This wasn't part of the giveaway that I won, I think he posted something, he was using it and I liked it, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna mail you one. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And sure enough, he did. Yeah. So it's just a lot of us on here, like I know I give a lot, like if you know me and you're close to me, and there's a lot of people that's received a lot of stuff from me. And it's all karma, it's all good karma. My parents are Theravada Buddhists. So I was born and raised a Theravada Buddhist, and I believe in karma 100%.
Yeah.
So, what you give out is what you receive. So I do get a lot of surprise packages in the mail just because, Big Cactus Rescue sent me a bag, with his logo on it all the way from the UK. And I got this Amazon package. I'm like, I didn't order anything from Amazon. I thought I was getting scammed on my credit card. I'm going to check my credit card receipt, and, but it was a gift from him. So thank you. And so it's like the little things that makes your day, because you never know what people are going through in their day. They could be having, like you have PTSD, you could be having you could be having one of your episodes where you're having a bad day, and then all of a sudden something shows up in the mail that you weren't expecting at all, and you open it up, and you know, just a surprise from a friend that you've never met. I mean, how
Yeah.
amazing is that?
Yeah.
And then, so we can do plant mail. So I just got plant mail. I unboxed it, but I haven't opened it yet. So we can do an unwrapping.
Awesome.
They sent me a little free gift too, because I don't know what this is, but it's like a little thing that's stuck in here. Okay, no, but it might be a cactus. Okay, you open the little one. So yeah, I love getting plant mail, whether I pay for it or whether it's a surprise.
Yeah,
whatever
it's
it
the
is.
best feeling ever.
Yes, you know.
It can really make your
love that.
day.
I'm sorry.
It can really make your day when you open
Yeah,
it up
it
and you
does.
see this little beauty.
Oh, look at this. I love this color.
Wow.
That's
Oh
a
my gosh.
extra. Where's your name tag? Where's my name tag? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
The Dilo Cactus Hexadro Forest. And I love the names because it makes you, you know, smart. Because most of the names are like 15, 16 word long, and, you know, practicing to pronounce it.
I love the patterns on that thing.
Oh, look, we got a baby one. Oh, no, it has spines. Okay, here, okay, show him your baby. Oh, look, we got a free gift as a baby.
Cool, Bodhi. Thanks. That thing's cool. Look at that root.
I gotta put it okay. Yeah, so I got a free gift. Okay, let me open my cheeseburger. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, I need scissors for this
Yeah,
thing.
so I'm constantly ordering stuff because not only is collecting the high and the getting new cactus, but also the spending too. And that's maybe the only bad thing, because I know a lot of us have that high of spending too, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of women, like for me, like if anybody sees me in person, I mean, I don't wear makeup, I don't do the fake eyelashes, I don't spend money on all that stuff. I do my own nails. I haven't had a haircut in almost 2 years, you know? So, like, I don't spend a lot of money where most women spend money on. And like my clothes, I'm a totally simple person, you know, tank top, shorts, flip flops, that's it. So like, that's kind of how I justify spending $300 on one plant, you know, because you can easily walk into a salon, get your hair done, do your makeup, all that stuff, and you're spending $300, and that only lasts a week, you know? Yeah, mine, if I take good care of them, they can outlive me.
A lifetime,
you know? Yeah, and then also you can turn and invest too, because you can always sell the babies, you know, sell the seeds, you can sell a cutting, I mean.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me see right over here. He just opened my Lichtenberg. Let me see.
They can pay for themselves eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're gonna show him? Okay. Look.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, I ordered this because I wanted a big one, and this is the biggest out of.
Look at those roots.
Yeah. Oh no, don't pinch him. Yeah, this one's a nice one. But anyways.
I don't do the
No. Here, you can use that to go play with the plants outside.
Yeah, well, you know what, May? I told you this privately in a message. You are very loved. For real, I've never seen a response like I saw in the questions. You know, maybe we get a handful if we're lucky, and I could see why now that I'm interacting with you, and you embody a strong woman, and I'm very grateful to have had you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun. Thank you.
You did an excellent job.
Thank you. All right. So bye.
All right. If everybody could please like, review, and subscribe. Succulent Cacti Lady, right?
Yes.
at succulent_cacti_lady. Go check her out.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
All right.